Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tonight, around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about mirroring in the current status as far as war, conflict, and propaganda, and monetary systems. Care about each and everything. Do not make a distinction between the great and the small. Cleaning the floor, do it with deep care, as if it is the body of the beloved. Each indifferent act becomes a slow suicide, a slow death. Be overflowing. Don't be a miser of self. When some of us put time on contemplation or meditation, this life currently, in this very now, these bodies that we're in, is just super short. Roughly, only about 70 to 80 years for most of us. And then this life, the body, is gone. Have you ever wondered, and I've had people say this to me, what is the point? What's the point of it all? At some point in this infinite journey around the sun, each and every one of us will experience a deep fear of being completely lost. This is inevitable. We must all go through the experience of not having a clue which is the best direction for us to be going. Whether it be your job, relationship, health, family, or spiritual path, we are guaranteed to experience a time before we die where we will not have any confidence or certainty in which we're going, right? Where we're going, or what we're doing. If ever this experience happens to you, it's quite simple. When the sensations of confusion and trepidation flood the brain and make you believe anything, everything is not as it should be, do not resist them. Surrender through them. Feel the fear inside you until there is nothing left. Open up to it until there is only stillness inside. It may take you in 10, 20 minutes or so of sincere focusing until you feel it fully. Then it will be gone. The discovery to happiness is to treat each fear as a doorway to the divine. Give yourself permission to greet the lost experience intimately, as if God was standing on your front porch in the middle of summer waiting for you with a tall glass of lemonade. Meet the experience fully. Drink it in deeply. Bend over and kiss the ground it walks on, and do not try to change it in any way. The experience of feeling lost in our lives is actually the realm of infinite possibilities in a great disguise. This universe is presenting a higher path for us to take, because the old path we were on was worn out and making us lazy. When this life becomes too comfortable, we need adventure to take over. This life wants us to always step out of the old way and try something new. New opportunities are awaiting us each day. Some of them may cause the mind to freak out because they may be too big, too small, or too scary. Try to jump on one of them and be okay if you happen to fail. You will see a possibility of who you can become just by taking this risk. Or, if you're wanting to dive deeper inside yourself, you can just try to meditate silently all day long, watching the grass grow, listening to the birds sing their song. One may ask oneself, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly? The reason why we suffer each day is because we are listening to such a busy, preoccupied, worried mind. The reason why we suffer each day is because we are listening to such a busy, preoccupied, worried mind. The mind is always so busy, so determined, and is so focused on getting somewhere other than simply relaxing into the here and now. What's ironic is that the mind actually doesn't know what it feels like to truly be here now. The mind doesn't understand how feeling lost could actually be our ultimate vacation and final destination from the perpetual workhorse the mind is constantly riding. Now, if and when we watch the mind vigilantly, we will see it is always focusing on something. It is continuously working 24/7 like a mad machine in a deep habitual addiction to its thoughts and thinking patterns. If for a moment this machine starts to question its motives, it might make you start thinking that you are off track. When this occurs, try this little experiment. Pay super close attention to the mind for several minutes. Notice what your goals, desires, and priorities are in this life. Write down all these ideas, and yet more importantly, write down what will allow you to be at ease, even if these needs are not met. Enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but of making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. Enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but of making the darkness conscious. We can find freedom by asking ourselves, what do we most need to let go of attachment to right now? To feel deeply relaxed and at ease in this very moment. Explore what belief systems we need to release and what it feels like to just trust life and be relaxed as we are. The eternal soul that we are deserves to have this every day. When we realize that we are the eternal observer, the pure, innocent, untainted witness, we will never feel lost again. Because we will know that every juicy moment is a ticket home. The more we watch the mind, the easier this life becomes. And you can see how it tends to cling to certain ideas and repel others away. You stop buying into the drama of it all. Ultimately, the mind doesn't have a clue where to find safety and security in this world. Not a clue. It simply cannot, because the outer world is constantly changing. The mind simply needs to know how to sit back and be still and allow for every little thought to pass on through. Don't seek, don't search, don't ask, don't knock, don't demand, just relax. If you relax, it comes. If you relax, you start vibrating with it. Osho. On this planet, we do the opposite. We seek, we search, we ask, we knock, we demand, and we suffer. In reality, do not seek, do not search, do not ask, do not knock, do not demand. Just relax, just relax, just relax. And if and when you relax, it comes. If you relax, you start vibrating with it. You see how we've been taught, pre-programmed? Actually, to be the opposite. To seek, to demand. There's nothing wrong with the experience of feeling lost. For this is what fuels the spiritual search in the first place. As we allow ourselves to embody the experience of feeling lost, as we allow ourselves to embody the experience of feeling lost, it will completely dissolve. So be totally confused. Surrender to every which way and possible direction you could be going, and eventually it will drive you deep within. I invite you to approach all confusion, indecision, or lost feelings with this sense of divine exploration and curiosity. For this will result in real appreciation. It takes a true master to do this, yet it is not that hard. Simply surrender your ego's all too important agenda to the pure joy of exploring every little experience that you have along the way. This universe has billions of ways to keep us humble and fascinated at the same time. Mike Pearson. It's good to know that this universe will continuously keep providing us with the experience of feeling lost so that one day we truly give up searching out there and uncover this beloved, warm, fuzzy home within ourselves. All those moments of indecision and fear are meant to force the mind to stop moving forward, searching backward, and suddenly cause everything to come to a complete stop. This full stop is the vehicle we all need to transcend the mind and find the spiritual path inside. This is one of life's wondrous gifts to help us discover what meditation really is. Without the experience of confusion, we would all be very, very, very lost and confused. Without the experience of confusion, we would all be very, very, very lost and confused. Be cautious of the mind, for whenever your mind doesn't know what you should be doing with your life, it might start making you believe that something is wrong with you. Be cautious of the mind, for whenever your mind doesn't know what you should be doing with your life, it just might start making you believe that something is wrong with you. It may start to judge and condemn you, saying there must be a deep personal issue you need to investigate with a counselor. The ego starts to become afraid that all its great efforting was for nothing. It doesn't want you to do nothing, for you will soon find out that you already have all the answers within you. The ego mind doesn't want to give up being in charge of this life. It would rather sacrifice your self-esteem than surrender. Only in deep surrender is there stillness, and the path to opening the heart to total freedom. It is by going through the fire that we purify and are reborn. Don't take stuff so seriously. The best path is to use our disbelief and doubt as a doorway to reveal a deeper truth of who we really are. Doubt is always our initial guide to finding freedom because it has no objective, agenda, or fixed opinion. It is always wavering, thinking it could be this or that, which forces us to drop deeper into the heart. When we surrender to it all and drop deep inside, we will see that trust was always here, inside of our heart, as our real guru and guide. When I let go of who I am, I become what I might be, Mao Tzu. Now, when we can quiet our mind for 1 minute, we can hear what it's saying to us. Listening to the heart is easy when we put the world on the back burner. It just happens on its own. It just happens on its own when we relinquish all attachment to the end result and give in to the simplicity of purely being here in the now. Most of us, however, are so trained and programmed, goal-oriented, that we cannot hear the longing of the heart and often reject any wobbling experience that may make us feel derailed from our normal path. It is such a good thing that there are so many distractions in life. Otherwise, we would be like automized robots and never discover what the real spiritual journey is about. This life, is such a deep, juicy adventure, so don't be afraid of it. Know that each moment is the sacred source revealing itself to you. Be deeply honest and stop hiding your light from this world. Whatever it is that you really, really, really want in this life can be yours. The discovery is to know how to change your vibration and attitude so that you can receive it. We must dive beneath the surface into our innermost being and discover the power that we truly have. Once we bring a halt to the mind chatter, we will find out what really makes our hearts go pitter-patter and experience every moment of life as taking on the most amazing, rich flavor we have ever tasted. To move forward is to go within. To stand still and move backwards is to go without, outside of yourselves. And it is interesting, with such a wonderful transition happening, one might ask oneself and say, how do we keep focused on the good stuff with all of these distractions, right? Loneliness, fear, worry, stress, anxiety, anger, greed, manipulation, dishonesty. You focus on what you want. Pretty simple. Even if you're in the habit of doing it, you focus on what you want as if you already have it. But it's kind of interesting, but you don't have expectations to the outcome of it, and you really don't have any attachments, right? So in one way, we are sending out vibrational frequencies to the universe, right, about something specific in detail that we desire, that we want, whatever it may be. And at the same time, having no attachment to it. For instance, let's say that you have something, right, that you want, and you become attached to it, right? You love it, you're attached to it, and you want it. That's attachment. Now, because of that, you interject some doubt, and no matter how small it may be, some uneasiness, which is fear, the ego mind, telling you you can't have that. What happens if you don't have it? What happens if it doesn't come to you? With expectation, you suffer. See, with attachment and expectation, you suffer. But without that, you're free. So in other words, let's say that it doesn't happen from your perspective. Not a big deal at all. See, this is the letting go. Letting go of the very thing that you desire. At the same time, manifesting it. So it's quite interesting how we view these things and why the majority of us don't have what we want. It's a proven fact. Self-explanatory. But it's doing it, say. It's you being devoted to it on a daily basis, 24/7. You identify the thoughts that come in, right? You say that's an ego mind thought. You can identify. You know that. You just say that's an ego mind thought. I'm not interested in engaging in that at all. I'll let it just pass through, or float by, or fly by. Now, other times you might say to yourself, this is something that I wish to engage with. Because this is something I desire. This is something I want. So I'm going to send that to the universe as a request, right? And keeping my vibrational frequency high by concentrating on what I want, period. Not what I don't want. Like, someone will send that out to the universe, and then immediately it comes in through the ego mind, kind of like backdooring. Where it says, well, you probably won't get that. What's going to happen if you don't get it? That's the doubt, right? And the universe identifies that as something that you do not want. So it gives you what you do not want, which is what you want that you don't get. Whenever you're attached to something, don't you get frustrated, impatient, worried, stressed, fearful? That's all ego mind. Every single bit of it. And suffering, number one for us, when we step into that mud hole. Now, some people will say, well, you can't always be positive. That's the ego mind talking. Right? When you increase your vibrational frequency on a consistent basis, you will focus always on what you want. And you will not doubt. You will have total faith, trust, and confidence in yourself and the universe. So it's a no-brainer. It is. Okay? You send, and the universe takes care of it. Might visit it on occasion. And you're not attached to it. Everything is about free-flowing without obstruction. It is. It really is truly going with the flow. And then one might say, well, you can't always go with the flow. Because what happens when you do? See, the ego mind comes in, and you start worrying about going with the flow. When you're in a positive flow with your life, because you've chosen to be, and someone says to you, don't you ever get upset about anything? Your response is, no, I don't take this life too seriously. And I focus on what I want in this life, not what I don't want. Okay? Even if you care to give an explanation, because you really don't. And so our energies from those perspectives are directed on what we want, not what we don't want. It is quite dangerous for all of us. Because on one hand, we don't know how powerful we are, the gods in these bodies. We just don't, see, because we haven't practiced it. We haven't experienced it. We have in certain instances, in brief moments, but we really didn't identify that. We thought it was something out there doing it, not something in here doing it. So when you see something, right, and you see all of the jagged edges on this planet right now, and people saying that they don't want to have this happen, they don't want to have that happen, they don't want to. You see what happens? They're focusing on what they don't want. And the more of us that understand and embrace the power that we are in these bodies, that we are the commanders of light force energy. We are. There isn't anything outside of us that is. We are. Now, through illusion, we can be tricked into believing that that power is outside of us, that it is not us. So we're helpless. And that couldn't be so far from the truth. One would say, well, we're really remapping our understandings that we were pre-programmed with. Yeah. If you were out in the desert and you were really parched, I mean, you really dehydrated and you're delusional. See, that's what happens when we don't have any water. And you see this, I mean, it's phenomenal oasis, beautiful trees, sparkling water. It's just wonderful. You see it. And it is so profound that you believe it exists in your current state. But when you get to it, and you start drinking the water, it's actually it's sand you're putting in your mouth. That's something like how the controllers have put this and structured it in a way. It is a complete mirage. It's an illusion. It's an interactive illusion. This plays an important factor in every one of us choosing to discover who and what we are in these bodies. In discovering what this whole construct's about. The biggest culprit when any of us gods enter physical form, could be 1 billion trillion light years away, is that we all, when we enter these physical forms, we do inherit the ego mind, or the mind ego. This is why we have this feeling of being lost in our lives. Because we don't know who we are, what we are. This is how this planet is changing. How things are transitioning. What's the source? We are. We're the source. And by shifting everything, by focusing on what we want and not what we don't want, you have no feeling of being lost in your life. Because you know that you're part of everything. All that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. You can't see, the ego mind tries to play this game with us to have a feeling of being lost in our lives. But that's the ego mind's influence. When we understand that we're part of all that there is, everything and nothing, that we are immortal supreme beings, super manifestors in these bodies that never die. We don't die. Yeah, the body, we drop it off. Like, a set of an old suit that no longer fits us and doesn't feel comfortable. And then we move on. And we go into another physical form. If we decide, and once the controllers have been completely vaporized and their equipment, then we'll be able to do that. We still can. More and more are starting to realize that they have no bondage, that it's all an illusion. Make something omnipotently powerful believe that it isn't. Right? Make something believe that it is, when it's omnipotently powerful, that it isn't. And what do you have with that? Slavery. When you can start with a clean slate, which means that you've taken the old canvas of your life, it's all busy and it's got all kinds of things going, and you just burn it. And you put a new canvas up. Only this time, the new canvas is that you're aware of who and what you are. And things change. You know why? Because you changed them. It's like saying, I don't really care to go down that dark street anymore that doesn't have any lights. I'm going to put lights up so that it's all illuminated. It's as bright as daylight when I walk down it. And it's the power within us that can do that. It's interesting because, all of us glow. We glow. And with the right spectrum camera, you can see the glow all around these bodies, multicolored. Where's that coming from? And it's different colors from the different etheric chakras in our bodies. Where's it coming from? Well, your pure light force energy, unadulterated. Why wouldn't you glow? See, because these bodies we're in are fully loaded with all the options and accessories that you could possibly imagine. But we never got a manual to read up on these bodies, right? And to know how to translate the power of the gods that we are in these bodies. So we poke in the dark. Oh, we bump into something here, we bump into something there. And we just poke and bump and poke. And then we discover things. And it's amazing. This life is absolutely amazing. All the things that we get to do. We wouldn't be able to do these things outside these bodies. Because we're pure energy. The body gives us a physical interaction, which is phenomenal. You touch things, you feel things, you smell things, right? See things. You can cry, you can laugh, you make love. You can see all these different wonderful things that are endless that we don't embrace because the ego mind dictates to us, and it's all out there. It's all in the material physical world, which then causes us to suffer because the ego mind, as we know, it cannot exist in the now. It can only exist in yesterday or tomorrow. And that's where we're caught, most of us. We're caught reflecting on thoughts that come in from the ego mind out of the clear blue. They could go back to childhood, different experiences that just kind of flood in out of nowhere. And you just basically say, that the past is gone. We reflect on the past through the subconscious mind on certain things, but we don't dwell on them. We leave them alone. We go forward. It's the same with the future. How can we worry about something that hasn't happened? And we don't know the future. And it's interesting, everything is the now. That's part of our discipline. It's part of choosing to be in the now. Choosing to focus on our breath. Not just temporarily, but permanently. Choosing to meditate every day. And people say, well, I have these questions. Focus on the now with your breath. Be in a comfortable position that's not going to be interrupted. And listen. Be still and listen. Ask your question with no expectations or attachments. You will eventually get an answer. May not be right then and there, but it'll come. And then the solution is directly delivered. You ever worked with something, right? And you haven't been able to figure out how it works. Now, you look at the directions and everything, but it doesn't say in those directions because for some reason, and it's not like you're not learned, right? Through life that you've experienced things and adapted and picked up this and that. But for some reason, this eludes you. And you just go, well, just figured this out. So you take it to someone and you say, how do you work this? And they kind of look at you and, who cares? Your direction is to find out how to work it. And then when you find out how it does work, it blows your mind because it's so simple. Oh, okay, now I get it. You ever done that? Oh, I see. But see, a lot of people will say to themselves, oh, they don't care to appear to be stupid. They're worried about what other people will think of them because they don't know how to operate whatever it is. They don't know how to work it. So they automatically assume through the ego mind that people are going to think they're stupid or dumb. Now, but when you go from the understanding is that you really don't care at all what people are thinking, all you're looking at is you want information on how to operate whatever it is you can't figure out how to operate. So you go to someone that does know how, or you believe does, and it's the solution to your challenge. And now you're able to operate it. And who knows? Maybe later on, someone will come to you with the same situation. You'll be able to show them how. I don't know. We all of us have done similar things throughout this life, other lifetime. And you feel really good when that happens, when you help somebody. Without expectations. Without attachments. That's what's so interesting through the ego mind, why so many people are lonely, right? Or lost, so to speak. I don't believe anybody's lost. Just they believe through the ego mind that they don't know what life is for and why they're living it. They're living it to enjoy it. And the only way they're going to enjoy it is focus on what they want, not what they don't want. When when you look at the stars at night, and then you look at yourself and you go, the body, right? And some people feel so small, insignificant. But in reality, they're the opposite. Omnipotently powerful, supreme, immortal, super manifesting, supreme reality beings who are part of everything. And everything's part of them. You're the universe, and the universe is you. You're the God, and the God is you. You're the heaven, and the heaven is you. And flip side, you're the hell, and the hell is you. You're going to be who you are, how you believe you are. And this is about choosing to shift gears, turn right, and focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Every day. Stay in deep gratitude. Every day, 24/7. When things start, coming in like, like you go, wow, look at all this is happening. Let it go. You surrender it. Just let it go. Well, I don't care to entertain this. And you immediately feel lighter. So when you sum it all up, we're here to enjoy our lives. Bottom line. Why would we come here to endlessly suffer? We wouldn't. We're here to intend things and manifest them without attachment. And we're here to master the ego mind. And the ultimate understanding is that before you leave that body you're in, you will clearly understand that you are the light. You are the light. We talked about how you glow. You're the light. The God within you is the light. Not the light that chases you when you leave the body. More and more are truly, deeply discovering this. Unprecedented in this civilization's existence at such a rate of numbers. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Before you get out of bed every morning, this month, I invite you to try out this healing exercise. Laying very, very, very still in bed. Rest one hand on your belly, one on your heart. Breathe slowly and deeply, connecting with the space in between your hands. Imagine your belly is merging with your heart and feel this connection inside you. Allow whatever emotions or bodily sensations that arise. Open up emotionally and let yourself feel sad, angry, lost, or afraid. You can relax deeper into this healing experience by breathing deeply and slowly. Remember that no matter what happens in this life, you are a precious, beautiful soul who is lovable and divine. Let your heart guide your belly back home. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here tonight, after 9 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Time for Change call. And we're going to cover a lot of things. I'm going to put some pieces together. And Thursday, February 23rd, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Practice being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Practice being in the deepest, deepest, deepest of eternal gratitude all the time.